Edwin Sifuna is not here to offer a new political alternative. I'm sorry to break your bubble. That's not why he's here. He is here to repackage old party bargaining strategies, unfortunately, using Gen Z energy. The Kenyan youth are just angry at the current crop of leaders. They want a new Kenya. They want change. They want delivery. They want systems that work. They want leaders that listen. They want leaders that look like them. They're just tired of recycling political elites. But today I want us to ask hard questions. Is Sifuna going to deliver the Gen Z dream? The truth of the matter is, Sifuna is still strongly embedded within ODM. It is very clear from his introductions at any opportunity he gets. Mimi ndio Sifuna, katibu mkuu wa chama cha ODM. ODM is not a new system. ODM is the system. It has been, it will continue to be. And so the question is, Gen Zs are looking for a new crop of leaders, but their perceived hero is leading them towards the system. It was quite clear during the SDC that was held a few months ago that the position of the youth, the position of women is quite evident. In this ODM party, Winnie Odinga stood and said that it is unfortunate that she is amongst the youngest people that stood on that podium on that very day. That goes to show you where youth leadership is within the ODM faction. And so if Sifuna is still within the ODM faction and all they are doing is remobilizing, re-strategizing, rebranding old politics, then it should communicate a lot to you as a youth in terms of where you want to go tomorrow. And as Sifuna, you cannot claim to be an alternative while you still negotiate from the establishments you say you are disrupting. Because in our eyes, Sifuna looks like that person who is going to come and deliver a new Kenya. Unfortunately, he is doing that from within the very systems that we are supposed or we are disrupting. Sifuna is giving the illusion of fresh blood. Is it really fresh blood or stale blood? What Sifuna is doing is the numbers game. We have had a couple of times when the united opposition say that all they are doing is allowing their principals to go and consolidate numbers in their regions, and then watakuja, wakae chini, waseme, wewe umeleta ngapi? Wewe umeleta ngapi? Na wewe umeleta ngapi? And then who has brought the most? And then that person who has brought the most has the most power and has the most negotiating ability. That's exactly what Sifuna is doing. I'm not saying it is wrong to do that. It is only wrong to use Gen Zs as a ladder to the negotiating table of ODM. Kenyan politics, unfortunately, is about numbers. And numbers equate leverage. Unfortunately, and what the youth are forgetting, is that youth mobilization and what we have been seeing in all these Linda Mwananchi rallies does not translate to youth empowerment. We could run up and down all day, but it fails to translate to any meaningful empowerment for the youth. Gen Z alignment, which is a very critical component in the 2027 election, will build political weight. So whoever carries the day with the Gen Z carries the day. And what Sifuna is doing is strengthening this in existing political negotiations. We all expected that by now Sifuna would have broken out of ODM and went ahead and formed his own political party. But to date, what is he doing? Still introducing himself in the very old manner. And so where is the reality check? Is that he is still deeply entrenched within ODM politics. And what we see as a Gen Z uprising in our eyes, with our bare eyes, may not necessarily be as we see. It could be a simple strategy for ODM reorganizing itself. So get the facts correct. Is this a Gen Z uprising or an ODM remobilization? Real political alternatives, and this is what Sifuna has been unable to move beyond, require risks. It's a risk-taking endeavor. And so by him remaining in ODM and still looking like he purports change, he wants change for this country, is not him taking the risk that he actually ought to have taken a couple of months ago. It is his own strategy. What is in his head, we may not be able to tell comprehensively. But what we require him to see is that voters and the youths are quite different. Youths are not to be seen as simply voters, as simply numbers that fill into your basket. The youth, who we are now calling Gen Z, are a political capital that can either be misused or used appropriately to transform this country. Where I see the Gen Z went wrong is when they said they are leaderless, partyless, formless. All these less are working against them. Old politicians are simply adopting. They know you are loud. They know you want to be seen and to be heard. And all they are doing is that they are just adapting to suit your needs. If you're not careful as Gen Zs, this is going to be overtaken by events. Because old politicians are here not to change systems, but to rebrand themselves to simply fit the youth language. So Gen Zs are simply not being represented. They're just being mobilized. And the hype of it is carrying the day.